Hello, and a very warm welcome to this, our 14th Rare Revenar episode. I'm Rebecca Stewart, CEO of Rare Revolution, and tonight I am supported by my colleague Becky Pender, who's working away in the background on all things tech. We are pleased to bring you live translation for this webinar. So by clicking on the globe at the bottom of your screen, you can choose the language you prefer. Today's session is looking at how to create a blueprint to advance genomic medicine in the LATAM region. And this discussion has been supported by our friends at Illumina and America's Health Foundation. It's great to have so many registered for today, and I would encourage you to take advantage of our Q&A function to ask any questions or leave your comments for our panelists. So I'm delighted to introduce today's guests, who are all leading experts in the LATAM region. Oh, Becky, I think we've got a problem with somebody's mic. There we go. Okay, so Dr. Andreas Moreno is a Mexican population geneticist interested in human genetic diversity and its implications in population history and medical genomics. Dr. Luis Quinones, coordinator of the Latin American Network for the Implementation of Clinical Pharmacogenomic Guidelines. Dr. Legia Pereira is the founder and leader of the DNA Brazil project for the Ministry of Health and founder and CEO of the startup GenT. And finally, Dr. Adriana Robayo is the doctor of the National University of Colombia with clinical specializations in internal medicine and pathology. And since 2019, she has been the executive director of the IEPS. So we have a jam-packed session today. But before we get started, I would like to introduce Mariana Rico, who's going to say a few words about the America's Health Foundation.
Thank you, Rebecca. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Mariana Rico, and I'm the Vice President of the America's Health Foundation. We're an independent organization dedicated to fostering policy-driven initiatives that bring together stakeholders to increase access across Latin America. We've been working for over 15 years in the region, and that's what brings us here today. I'd like to extend my gratitude, first of all, to Rare Revolution for hosting this important event with us and to Illumina for their generous sponsorship. And most of all, to our esteemed panelists for sharing their invaluable experience. So as Rebecca said, we're here to talk about the transformative potential of genomics for both personal and public health outcomes, and the impact of this technology cannot be overstated. From advancing personalized medicine to enabling earlier diagnosis and targeted treatment of diseases, the benefits of genomics are substantial and far-reaching. However, in Latin America, significant barriers remain to the widespread implementation of this technology. Some challenges include the high cost of equipment and reagents, and also limited availability of trained human resources. Despite these obstacles, we firmly believe that the adoption of genomics is not only possible in our region, but essential for improving health outcomes and quality of life, regardless of economic constraints in certain countries. And that's why we're here today, to explore solutions, share insights, and chart a path forward for making genomics more accessible throughout Latin America. I look forward to the discussions and perspectives of our expert panel and for the insightful conversations that will follow this webinar. Thanks.
Thank you, Mariana. So let's get started by setting the scene and taking a look at the importance of raising awareness in the region. Dr. Moreno, I'd like to come to you first. The World Health Organization's Science Council report looked to set out recommendations to accelerate access to genomics for global health. What are the key messages from this report that should be highlighted to regional stakeholders?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to join this panel of experts, and I'm really glad that this is a topic that we can discuss dedicated webinar on it. I mean, really glad to have this invitation. So first of all, I would say that it's very positive that a global organization like WHO has a specific council precisely to think about genomics and bring this report together. That alone, I think it's unprecedented to the best of my knowledge in the I know in the many years we have been working in this field, there has never been a report of this level to explicitly only talk about genomics. So the fact that it's dedicated at this level, when usually, we think about, medical applications and health in general, about just treatments and, things that are more applicable to cure things that we see as a problem and not like a preventive program to like science directly, right? Which I think is very positive. Second of all, well, the document, of course, highlights or, issues a series of recommendations to bring genomics to the level of promotion of it, how to implement it, how to, bring together collaboration, and then finally touches on some ethical considerations on how to, bring these measures in an, equitable way. Of course, without summarizing all of them, what I would like to highlight, I think to me, my main message that I think it's important from a report of this sort is that I think it tells us that we have to be prepared. The pandemic was a very, a very strong event for the entire humanity. And I think it was a wake-up call to say the humanity and their state members have to be prepared for the next global event. We don't know it's going to be a pandemic or not, but definitely genomics proved to be incredibly useful in an event such as a pandemic. Having national databases about genetic profiles of a whole country is incredibly useful when you want to deploy immediately some measures that can be tailored towards a specific genetic profile, who is at risk, who is not at risk, or a lower risk of a given infectious disease. It could be food security in the next event, we don't know. But I think that what is clear is, again, we need to be prepared, and we cannot have a single recipe for every country to be prepared and just deploy genomics, whatever that means. Also, decades of work and many others before us have really taught us that we are different as humans, as populations, different continental ancestries, so that those profiles matter to biomedical implications, because whatever risk disease that maybe we're getting in Europe might not be the same variant or don't have the same effect as it happens in Africa, in Asia, or in Latin America. So those efforts definitely need to be focalized, regionalized, at least, at the very least. And that's where the complicated part of how to deploy that in different regions comes into place. But I'll stop there just saying that at least a wake-up call from this report is that we need to be prepared for the future.
And Dr. Moreno, if I stay with you for a minute, how can we raise awareness amongst the member states and the regional stakeholders about this report and its implications for genomic medicine?
Right. I think the key right there is that we need the endorsement of big organizations such as WHO, which is the positive side of having a report like this, but not only the report itself. I think regional meetings, which is another branch that I know is taking place in different regions of the world. I was in Brazil together with some of you here from the members of this panel. In Brasilia was the regional meeting of PAHO, with the Pan American WHO branch. I know there's a similar meeting in the Pacific Asia region taking place recently as well. And those meetings, I think, are key to precisely raise awareness of this priority that is, reported in this document. But I think also in the implementation phase, it will be critical that member states have liaison members with WHO as well, or the council itself, that can talk to decision makers in each of the member states so that genomics eventually become a priority. Right now, I think probably I would say that with the exception of Brazil, none of our countries in Latin America have genomics as a priority. And that's a big concern, because on one side, I'm saying that, the pandemic taught us that we need to be prepared and genomics should be a priority because it is useful in the future. And they're not taking the message, I think, as serious as it could in a preventive way. We are always reacting or importing science from other countries that not necessarily would be as applicable directly to our populations. And I think we need decisive support from our local governments and many other stakeholders to bring awareness to the priority that genomics should be. And I think we need the endorsement of those big organizations to make local collaborations, projects, funding, and many more support on that.